Matthew Reilly, welcome back to Sydney. Great to see you.
Mate, thank you for having me.
We're about to talk about book number 21, The Detective. It is a brilliant read, but I just want you to firstly just give people an idea of how this all started for you. Now, you started as a teenager, your first book, Contest, I think 1996.
Yep.
Just explain briefly how hard it was to get that published.
I write Contest when I'm 19. I send it to all the major publishers in Sydney. They all reject it, so I self-publish it. I go to bookstores with it. I ask to speak to the manager. Hi, I'm Matthew Reilly. This is my book, Contest. Into one of those bookstores walks the commissioning editor from Macmillan. She buys Contest, reads it, calls me and says, I love your book. What else are you working on? I was 50 pages into Ice Station, and they published Ice Station, and that was the book that catapulted me around the world. So from rejection to books selling around the world.
It's more than 8 million copies now, and a Netflix film. But that must have been in those early moments. So where did you store the books that you published? And I'm assuming you had to take a loan out or something to get by. It must have been a really tough time.
It cost $8,000 to print 1,000 books. If I was doing it now, I'd be doing it on Amazon, virtually, not printing any actual... I had boxes of books in the back room of my parents' house, and slowly but surely, I sold them all. I sold a bunch of them when it initially came out, and then when Ice Station came out in 1998, God love him, the guy at the bookstore I got discovered, this guy named Ken Phillis was the manager of Angus and Robertson on Pitt Street. He calls me, he says, Matt, we got your new book, Ice Station, it's fantastic. Say, have you still got any copies of that first one you self-published? And I said, yeah, I think I have 300 left. He said, we'll take all of them.
Wow.
And so in Angus and Robertson on Pitt Street, they had Ice Station and Contest on the shelves side by side, so those people who went there could get Contest in self-published form.
How special is it? And I've got my own journey with your books. I was 13 when I read Area 7. That was the first one. Mum said, no more Harry Potter, go and find another series. And I've, for the last 23 years, been reading your books and following your work. And you hear these stories all the time, I'm sure.
You know, I never set out to create readers. I just set out to write big, escapist, fast-paced action books. And it's been one of the unexpected joys that young guys, who are a notoriously difficult group to get reading, jumped onto the books. Whether it was Area 7, which got a very large release, the short book I did, Hell Island, that got a lot of readers. And then Hovercar Racer, the book that I did for younger readers, you can give that to a 10-year-old. And it doesn't have the language or the violence of, say, the Scarecrow books. And you can give that to a younger reader. Again, I just set out to show people a good time. And it's been one of the great joys, unexpected joys, when I hear that they got people reading. And you'd be surprised how many mums come to the signings. I mean, I'm rambling here, but I've been doing this for 27 years now. Now I get the mums and the dads coming with their son or daughter who is 15 or 17, and now the books are being passed, through generations. My evidence is anecdotal. Boys, when they're younger, read. And then when they turn 13, they stop. Something happens. It's football, it's girls, it's video games. It's other guys who might say, hey, reading's not cool. And there's a point where you have to get them back. And either we get them back or we don't. And often I found it's one of my books when maybe they're 18 or 21, even as late as 27. Mum or a friend or dad says, hey, there's this Matthew Reilly book, whether it was Area 7 or Seven Ancient Wonders. They go, oh, reading can be like the movies that I watch.
Just give people an idea about from when you first started and what your writing setup looked like to now, and what you've kept, what elements you've kept, and what is entirely different.
Like anything, the more practice you do, the better you get. What used to take me 10 or 12 words to write now takes 6. Interestingly, I think, with the exception of Mr. Einstein's Secretary, which was this big epic, the books are getting a little shorter, but there's more in them. So they're denser, they're more packed with plot, character, information. So I'm very proud of the fact that I think I have evolved with my audience. If you've ever had someone say, oh, that author doesn't write them the way they used to, my theory is that they actually are writing them exactly the way they used to. The audience evolves, the audience gets more sophisticated, they're watching more TV shows, they see new movies, they read more books. You as the author have to keep up. And the way I do that is I branch out. Every now and again, I mean, I've got my big series, got my Scarecrow series, got my Jack West series, but then I do the tournament, about a chess tournament in the 1500s, or Mr. Einstein's Secretary, or the Secret Runners of New York with time travel. And now we say the detective, this brand new hero written from the first person of a detective on the autism spectrum. You get to see the world through somebody else's eyes. So I like to believe that part of the recipe for my success is that I've kept up with the audience. If you don't keep up with the audience, they will leave you behind.
What do your working days look like? When you're in the zone, how many hours are you, I'm assuming you've got a big computer set up, or just talk us through a writing day for you?
So I have a really great office at home. My wife, God bless her, she said, put all my movie stuff and all my movie memorabilia in my office, keep it out of the house.
Yeah. You're big on Star Wars and stuff like that, right? Or what's the memorabilia?
Big on Star Wars. I'm also big on staying married.
Yeah.
So I've got my Han Solo in carbonite, full size on the wall. A lot of Die Hard posters, dropship from Aliens, all these inspirations, movie posters, RoboCop, Independence Day, Escape from New York, all the movies that really inspired me. I will get up most days at 6 a.m. I will not look at my phone for 30 minutes. I'll be thinking about what I'm going to do that day. Walk the dog, have some breakfast at my desk by 7:15, and I'll probably write till about 1 or 1:30. And that's when my stomach starts to grumble and says, eat. And usually I'm done by then. Then I'll spend the afternoon, get out in the sun, and start making notes for the next day. So by the time I wake up the next morning, I'm ready to go again. But I couldn't do it for 8 hours straight. That would probably burn out the brain. But for a good 5 hours, solidly, no distractions, mornings are best for me.
And once you're done, and I've spoken to artists that talk about when they finish a painting, who they show it to before they decide to exhibit it. Well, what's your practice there? How many people get to see the book before it gets published?
Well, there are two before I deliver it to my publisher.
Yep.
There's my wife, who is a big reader, and she just reads for enjoyment. So watching her read the book, she'll just take it away, and I know she's sort of beavering away on it, and it's purely enjoyment. My brother is the other one who reads it first, and he's looking to figure it out. He's looking to find the twists and to say to me, I saw that coming. And so he's my test, especially with a mystery. With a mystery, you've got to give the reader enough clues that they could figure it out, but you're trying to disguise it enough that they don't, so they're surprised. So my brother is a great sounding board for, have I given too much information or have I given too little? So they're the two people. Then I deliver it to my publisher, and I have a publisher and an editor. So all up, 4 people. They're
incredible books, and they're great action books. And I've often read them and thought, this is a movie or it's a series any day of the week. You've lived in Hollywood for 10 years now. 10 years. And how hard is it for a book to become a movie? How many close calls do you think you've had?
I've had many. I've sold books to Sony, Fox, Disney, Warner Brothers. And the only one that got made was Interceptor, which was an original screenplay that I wrote and then directed. I got all the way to casting on one TV show. Disney got a whole bunch of screenwriters to do Hovercar Racer and never got made. Paramount got a fantastic script done of Ice Station. And it was a senior executive who left. And so when he left, he loved Ice Station. He'd read the book. The new guy comes in and says, well, I don't want to make any of the projects of the old guy. So the heartbreaking part of Hollywood is that you are bound to an executive, and if they leave the company, your project falls apart. I would guess, I've never really done the math, Hollywood probably options 300 books for every one that gets made.
Wow.
And if you're doing my books, where it's big action, where you're going to need $60 to $80 million, Hollywood studios don't make many $60 or $80 million dollar movies a year. They probably only make 9 of those movies. So it's a numbers game, but hey, I keep stepping back up to the plate and giving it another shot.
From the humble beginnings when you were self-publishing and the books in Mum and Dad's house, the $8,000 that you spent on the 1,000 copies, what's a big pinch me moment you've had during this journey and the Netflix movie and everything you've done? What's something that you thought, I can't believe I'm here?
Well, I still love it every time I get a box with a new book. When I pull that new book out of the box, that's a pinch me moment. With Interceptor, my star was Elsa Pataki, and she's married to this up-and-coming actor named Chris Hemsworth. And so Chris did a little cameo in Interceptor, and so the day that I had to direct Chris Hemsworth, that's a pinch me moment, because not only is it like you've got this, he's huge, he's a big guy,
Yes.
but he's also really good, and so you got to bring your A+ game when you've got a guy there who's worked with some of the best directors in the world. That was a moment where you've just got to go, right, I really have to bring it today.
And if you're still getting that same delight opening a new book after 21 books, do you imagine a life where you're not doing this? Have you ever thought, okay, I'm doing 1 or 2 more books and I'm done? Or do you fear the idea of not writing books one day?
I love it. It's a legal addiction for me. I love having something at the end of the day that didn't exist at the start of the day. And I have a very simple rule when I'm writing any book, and I learned this early on. Every book has to be better than the one that came before it. That's it. It has to be more sophisticated. It has to be faster. The characters have to be better. I have to challenge myself in some way. And whether it's an epic like Mr. Einstein's Secretary or a mystery thriller like The Detective, I mean, when you're telling a book, say, from the first person, Sam Speedman, the hero of The Detective, he's on the autism spectrum, so I'm trying to look at the world through the eyes of somebody on the spectrum. And that is like an actor inhabiting a character. And I loved it writing that book. And I loved it so much that I said, hey, I'm going to write another one. So I've already written the next one.
The new book is called The Detective. It's out now in all good bookstores. Just give us an idea about what this is about. I read the first part of it last night. It was gripped. It's a great murder mystery.
So, for the last 150 years, women have been going missing, roughly every 30 years or so. And soon after, the investigator, whether it's a cop or a detective who's looking for these women, they also go missing. And so our hero, Sam Speedman, is this private detective from Houston, and he's been searching for this missing woman, and he's realised this. And something's come up that's put her back on his radar, and he's like, well, if I go searching for her, am I going to go missing too? And he's a guy who can go and research and surveil and do stakeouts for longer than anybody else, because he can just sit there and observe, and for a long period of time. And let's just say he is the quirkiest, most likeable, most ingenuous young man you've ever met, and he's going to come across the most heinous conspiracy imaginable.
Just lastly, what's your one best tip for a young person that wants to get into creative writing and what you're doing so brilliantly?
One tip, write what you love, or write what you're interested in. People will tell you write what you know, but that's not exactly what you've done. When I wrote Ice Station, I'd never been a United States Marine. I've never been to Antarctica. I still haven't been to Antarctica. What I know is thrillers. And I'll give you a little anecdote. I was asked many years ago to judge a short story competition at a boys' high school. The best stories were by the surfers. They wrote about surfing. Some kids said, they wrote about, I got up, I caught the bus to school, I went to school. That's what you experience every day. The surfers loved surfing. When they wrote about surfing, you could see the interest, you could see the enjoyment, and they gave you special knowledge, stuff that the regular person didn't know. That's what I'm doing with these books. So if you're starting to write a book or starting to write anything, write about what interests you, and that enthusiasm will come out in the work.
So it barely feels like work to you, basically. You love it, it's thrilling, and we read it, and the words and the action, and you've cost me a lot of hours of sleep over the years because I'm trying to go to bed and I'm like, I'm going to read one more chapter.
I love that.
The chapters are so short that you can read another one after that.
That's right.
And I'm sure writing it, you love it.
Yeah.
You probably felt like you've never worked a day in your life most of the time.
That's exactly what it's like. And the tip I'll give you is go to bed in the middle of the chapters, because at the end of that chapter, I'm going to leave you hanging.